Futures trading involves risk and is not suitable for all investors. Content provided in this segment is meant for educational purposes and is not a solicitation to buy or sell commodities.
Welcome to Grain Gab, a show where we sit back and gab about what's going on in our minds with the markets and how it's affecting you, our producers, and what to do about it. Look, the grain market's forever moving. They're crazy and can be downright emotional. That's why we're here to sit down, look at things holistically, and find a strategic yet grounded approach to handling the obstacles that the markets may give us. Hi, I'm Lori Nelsen, your host, and this is Kristin Stien. How are you, Kristin?
We're doing good today, Lori. Loving Valentine's Day today. It feels like spring, so I don't know how you can get in much better of a mood, right? How about you?
It's good. The sun is shining today. We're probably going to see some 50-degree temperatures, and I guess I'll never turn that down.
Yeah. What are you drinking today? Anything good?
Just totally water.
Gotta get over that smoker's cough you got going, huh?
What do you got today?
I'm sporting the cup from the top producer the other day in my regular black coffee. It's go time. So, Lori, we were at Top Producer last week. We were at Egg Expo the week before. It's been kind of a busy couple of weeks here. Did you learn anything good?
So, last week we had the WASDE February report, and that just continues to give us a bearish outlook on the market. Brazil corn and soybean production was barely cut, and the U.S. ending stocks really did not see a significant movement. We've got some rain in Argentina, some monsoon type weather that's coming into hitting some of Brazil. The Mississippi River levels have improved somewhat, so we're starting to see some tons move down the river, so that's positive. Those are some highlights from the week, and I guess I'd just go back to what did I learn? Farmers are a little bit concerned about what they've got left and how they're going to get it moved.
Yeah, the hard part about that is everything you just listed off was bearish information for the week. And a lot of guys I don't know if it's a digging your head in the sand type of thing. If I don't look, I don't have to see reality of what's going on in this marketplace, or if it's just the winter blues. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah. And, you look at, we've got a long weekend coming up with President's Day on Monday, which sometimes doesn't bode well for markets. We've got the Ag Outlook Forum. That's this week when we start looking at intended acres as we start shaping up for that March report. And how does that start to unfold? Are we looking at 92 million acres of corn and 86 million acres of soybeans to be planted? We shall see.
Yep. And really, when you look at all of that, that's all like, okay, there's different storylines going on. But one of the big themes that we heard the last couple of weeks and being on the road is a lot of guys just still have a lot of old crop in the bin and are waiting for some sort of bullish news to do anything. And the thing that struck me more than anything was we're not just waiting for a little bit of a bump in the market. We're waiting for a big bump in the market. We talk like $5, $6 corn type numbers again, whether that was like just saying it tongue in cheek or they were flat out serious. They're not going to let a bushel go until we see $5 corn again. I'm not sure, but I think that's one of the things that we really need to hone in and talk about today, right? We really need to stay focused on what that big picture view is just in the overall markets and what that means to their individual operations from there.
Yeah. So, you look at a stocks to use ratio and you go back in the past 20 years, and we don't need $5 corn when we're looking at a 2 billion bushel carryout number and lack of an export piece.
Yeah. Anytime we've seen 2 billion bushel carryouts, look at where that price has been at in the meantime. That's quite terrifying.
Yeah.
The other piece of that too is, so when we mention that, right, that's something that we'll talk about often with guys is what does that ending stock sheet look like? And then all of a sudden it's, but it's still dry out there. So what do you say to that?
So when we look at that drought monitor and the weather picture, a big concern on a lot of guys' minds right now with what they went through last year in the monitor and the actual bushels that they pulled out of there. Out of the fields.
Yeah, 100%. I get the PTSD that's going on right now. We have come off 2 to 3, depending on where you're at in the United States, 2 to 3 years worth of a drought. And I know in my backyard, we still need more moisture to come in, right? And A huge call out to Eric Snodgrass. He was at that top producer conference that we were at last week as well. And he kind of put to bed a lot of the myths around being able to predict a drought a long ways out, let alone 6 months out, let alone 3 months out. It is really hard. And I should say more impossible. It's more of throwing a dart on the wall when it comes to that kind of stuff. I mean, we were hearing things as far as like 89-year solar cycle or different, it could be another drought just because we're so dry right now. But what I challenge guys to think about is, one, you can't predict what the weather is going to do. But two, take a look at how quickly that story can change. Look at how dry the rivers were this last fall compared to how full they are now. Look at the drought monitor of the US from last fall till now. Or better yet, look at Argentina, right? They were coming off of a 3-year severe drought, right? Their crop was awful. And all of a sudden, they come into the first part of their planting season and it was still a little dry. And then they got rain, and all of a sudden, they are having the best crop ever, right? You take a look at their good to excellent ratings and it's unbelievable. And so we can't just live on a hope and prayer, especially right now, that we're going to have a crop failure. I don't know about you, Lori, but Stien Farms is spending a lot of money right now and a lot of time preparing and having a plan so that we can have an excellent crop. We're not planning for a crop failure. And so we're certainly not going to make our marketing plan based off of a fact that maybe there's a chance that we might have a failure.
Right. And giving yourself the flexibility in your marketing plan in case something moves.
Yeah.
And, we touched upon weather, and then you take a look at the fund activity. If they decide to come out of their short positions, that's what we would want to give us some price movement, to have the ability to be able to get bushels priced.
You hit the nail on the head. There is opportunity there, right? When you look at where their positions are, we get a lot of questions. Okay, what do you mean the funds are short and how does this all work out? Okay, so they have basically a bunch of sold positions on right now. And so the whole thought process is if they have a reason to get out of those short positions, that means they have to buy back into the market, which then starts to give ourselves a little bit of a boost there. The key is if they see that reason, right? And it can be quickly moving and we're off to the races and here we go again. Or it can be kind of a slow, we're going to start to peel out of this. It might be a little iffy there, right?
Right. That's where we look for the opportunity in the seasonal as we come into guys getting extremely busy in the field. And we're starting to just feel that a little bit as I look out the window, and making sure you're going to the field with your plan in place. So if there's a phone call from us, you might not be thinking about your marketing plan because you're thinking about getting precision planting in the seed conditions and the bedding perfect. It's not just a drastic thought process for you. You've got it in place and you can go focus on your planning. Your marketing plan is in place for you.
Yeah. Now is the time to do that. Now is the time to take a look at that big picture, right? And truly run the numbers, not just on your cost of production, but even when we're having that old crop conversation, it's expensive to carry grain right now. So if you're waiting for a rally, if you're one of the guys in the camp that has a bunch of grain in the bin saying, I'm not going to sell till it's X amount of price, is there typically a rally? And during spring, early summer, yes, there typically is. The seasonals point that out. The better question, I think, right now, especially as we're doing this slow grind lower in corn and beans, is where does that rally start from and how big of a rally is it going to be, right? Because if it costs 8 to 10 cents a bushel per month to store this bushel of corn or this bushel of beans, and we're going to wait till June or July to sell this, that means we're expecting more than a 40 to 50 cent rally in this market. And what's the likelihood of that, right? You have to be thinking about those kind of questions. And is it worth the risk in the meantime versus doing something a little bit different and having that plan in place, right?
Yes. And with all the grain that is out there and has yet to move before new crop,
how much selling pressure is going to come with it. 100%. I mean, the last couple of years were awesome years for the balance sheets, right? There's no denying that. And you guys, the farmer deserve that. They work hard and they really do deserve to have more than a measly 1 to 5% worth of return on their efforts out there. But the trap that we all fall so easily into is the minute that things get good, then we become complacent. Yeah. Right. And with that complacency becomes blindness to the facts that are in the marketplace right now. And so that's the thing that we really wanted to hammer on today is don't be complacent in this market. Keep the equity in your farm. Don't just give it away to the market, and stay focused on what that bigger picture looks like and not just what I feel like I should get for my own crop.
Yeah. Avoid the tunnel vision.
Don't be that guy, right?
Yeah. Right. So anything else you want to add, Kristin?
That's all. Don't be that guy. In the meantime, have a great rest of the month, just getting ready for spring that feels right around the corner. The groundhog said it was right around the corner. He has a much better success rate than most meteorologists out there. So I'm going to go with what he says.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Grain Gab. If you like what you hear, please subscribe and hit the like button. It really helps our algorithms. Thank you to Paige and the Insights team for making us look good. And until next time, keep your head up and your feet grounded. Cheers.